this video, I'm going to show you how I play the second guitar solo of Sultans of Swing by Dire Straits. Now, my question is simply this. Why, oh why, Mark Knopfler, did you not use a pick on that second solo? Okay, so let's get into this. First part is, and all that is I got my ring finger and I'm bending on the 12th fret of the G, and I'm actually using my right pointer finger to pick up. But I'm bending and then at the very end of the bend I'm doing a little vibrato. And then I'm coming down, after I do the bend, I just pick the 12th fret of the G. And then again, I just pick down. I'm picking up basically all three of these with my right pointer finger. So then I'm pick down. I remove my ring finger from the 12th fret of the G, and I'm on the 10th fret of the G. But then I hammer back on, or I don't hammer back on, but then I go back to the 12th fret of the G, and then back to the 10th fret of the G. Again, using my pointer finger, picking up the whole time. And then I use my thumb on the right side to pick down. I'm using my ring finger to land on the 12th fret of the D on the left side. And it's something like that, where I use my thumb and I pick the 10th fret, the 12th fret of the D on the left hand with my ring finger, and I'm picking down on my thumb. And then I'm using my pointer finger to land on the 10th fret of the G, and I'm using my right pointer finger to pick up. And then same bend. Just does the bend and comes out of the bend and then just picks it one more time. And again, I'm using my pointer finger for that, okay? Okay, so here's something to consider. When he does all this, he's got his finger, a couple of his fingers on the actual guitar to hold them in place. I'm doing it without doing it that way because I don't like to do it that way. I don't like to learn that way. I think it's better to not do it that way. Take that for what it's worth. You can either do it with your finger like on the guitar holding it up, or you can use your forearm against the guitar to hold you up. That's how I do it. So then he goes. So then I take my pointer finger, I put it on the 9th fret of the G. I got my pinky, and I'm ready to hit the 12th fret of the G. So I go. So I pick down with my right thumb on the G string, hammer on, pull off from the 9th fret of the D, or the 9th fret of the G to the 12th fret of the G. And then I slide it down 2 frets, got my pointer finger on the 7th fret, and I got my ring finger hammering on and pulling it off on the 9th fret. Then I go down 2 more frets, do it again. And then once I get there, when I'm on the 5th fret, I'm pointing fingers on the 5th fret and I'm hammering on the 7th fret. Then I go down to the D string and do the same thing. And then I go to the A string and do the same thing. And then I end on the C and the A, at the 3rd fret of the A. So. Okay, so that's the easiest part of the song. All right, so the next part. Next part is. What I'm doing, and here's something to consider also. Here's something that I really learned as I was learning these solos, is it's all about the thumb and the pointer finger on the right side. It's all about that. And I think if you keep that in mind, a lot of these licks will make sense. So what I do is I take my pointer fingers on the 8th fret of the B, and my ring finger is on the 10th fret of the G, and I take my pointer finger and I pick up, and then I pull off to the 8th fret of the B. So I pull off to the 8th fret of the B. So. But my thumb is resting on that G, and so I pick down So I pull off. My ring finger on the left hand ends up on the 10th fret of the G, and I pick down on the thumb. So my pointer fingers. So in other words, you're doing the B. You're picking up on the B with your pointer finger on the right side, and you're picking down with your thumb on the G on the right side. Again, that's the whole key. I think that unlocks a lot of these licks. So you do that, but then you pick up again. See, right that, but back to the pointer finger thumb thing. So you pick up again with your pointer finger on the B, on the 8th fret, with your pointer finger on the left side, and then you pick down again on the left side. Your ring finger's on the 10th fret of the G, and you pick down again with your thumb. So, again, remember this. This is crucial for the solo. The thumb and the pointer finger. And then you end up with your pointer finger on the 7th fret of the G. And then you pick down with my thumb there. Now this part right here is kind of an exclusive because I've watched other videos of teaching this song and they don't do it this way. And I watched the video of him playing it and this is how he does it. Except for he has his fingers holding on the guitar to give him some stability. But this is the right pointer finger thumb pattern. And then he just kind of repeats it lowly. And all that is your pointer fingers on the 8th fret of the B. Then you go your ring finger to the 10th fret of the G. And then your pointer finger ends up in the 7th fret of the G. So then it's my pointer finger to pick the first one. And then I use the thumb for the rest too. It's just like the lick, except for it's just simplified. And then you end up picking down on your thumb, and then your ring finger's on the 10th fret of the G. So. Okay, so then the next part was the third part now. So I take my middle finger, I put it on the 8th fret of the G. I take my thumb on the right side, pick down. I slide that middle finger to the 9th fret of the G. I put my pointer finger over the 8th fret of the B and the E. I pick with my pointer finger up on that 8th fret of the B. Then I take my ring finger, I hammer on and pull off on the 10th fret of the B. And I use my thumb to land back on the 9th fret of the G. So this is my pointer fingers over the 8th fret of the E. I can go ahead and pick that with my pointer finger as well. Pick up. So then I pick up, like I said, I pick up on the 8th fret of the high E. I hammer on and pull off on the B string with my ring finger. My ring finger's on the 10th fret of the B, and my pointer finger's on the 8th fret of the B. And I'm hammering on and pulling off without even picking anything about that string. It's like out of nowhere. It's like this. You pick it on the pointer. You put your pointer finger on the 8th fret of the high E. And then you're hammering on the 10th fret of the B, the next string, and pulling off as well. And then you land in the same place with your thumb. You pick down on the thumb, on your thumb on the right side, and you're landing on the 9th fret of the G. So it's a little tricky. Because once, and then he does that second part 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he does it 5 times. And he goes, picks down twice, then he does this part. And so this part's tricky. Okay, this part's really tricky. Okay, so what you're doing here, we're on the D minor pentatonic scale. Okay, so what I'm doing is, first thing I do, I use my thumb, I pick down on the G string, and I use my ring finger to do a bend starting on the 12th fret of the G. And then I'm using my pointer finger, actually I'm using my thumb. And so when I'm doing the bend, I got my pointer finger over the 10th fret of the B and the E. And then I bend with a thumb, and then I pick down again with a thumb on the B string, and then I pick up with my pointer finger on the E string. Again, the whole thing about this, the whole thing is how he handles the thumb and the pointer finger. Okay, and then I use my thumb to pick on the right side, and my pinky lands on the 13th fret of the B. And he pulls off where my pointer finger's still on the 10th fret of the B, so I can pull off there. And then I land with my ring finger on the 12th fret of the G, and my thumb is picking down. And then, since my pointer finger is still on the 10th fret of the B, I pick up with my pointer finger on the B string, which again, in the 10th fret of the B. And then I pick down again on the 12th fret of the G, point with my thumb. Then I pull off. My pointer fingers is on the 10th fret of the B of the G. My ring finger pulls off from the 12th fret of the G to the 10th fret of the G. Then you land with my thumb picking down and my ring fingers on the 12th fret of the D. It's a really tricky thing, actually. And then you go. And then but again, this is what it really became clear for me, is that he uses the thumb and the pointer finger mostly. He's not just using finger picking, he's mainly using those two. And then he goes, on this part, all I do is I put my pointer finger over the D, G, and B strings of the 10th fret. And then what I do is I pick down with my thumb, hammer on with my ring finger on the 12th fret of the D. And then I do that, hammer on. And then I pick down with my thumb on the 10th fret of the G. Then I use my pointer finger to pick up on the 10th fret of the B. And then I use my thumb to close out. My ring finger lands on the 12th fret of the G, and I pick down on the thumb. So it's. Okay. The next part, and this is also an exclusive because I have not seen this anywhere, but I've watched him play it really slowly with some YouTube videos. What I figured out he does is I took my pointer finger and I put it on the 8th fret of the B, middle finger on the 9th fret of the G, and my ring finger on the 10th fret of the D. And I take my thumb, I pick down on the D string, I pick up with my pointer finger on the G string, and I use my middle finger to pick up on the B string. And what he does, I think he uses his ring finger to hit the 10th fret of the B. I use my pinky. Because it's right there, it's already there. I can even do it. But I remove my fingers from that chord, but you don't have to. So my pinky lands on the 10th fret of the B. And I do that same exact thing. And my pinky this time lands on the 11th fret of the B. So it's. And then in this lick, I take my middle finger, and it's on the 11th fret of the B. I use my thumb on the right side to pick down. And I pick bend a whole step. Then my pointer finger lands on the 12th fret of the E, and I'm using my pointer finger to pick up. And then I finish I pick again with my thumb on the right side, and I finish the bend. And I use my pointer finger to pick. My pointer finger on the left side lands on the 10th fret of the E, and I pick up with my pointer finger on the right side. So it's. All right, so that's the next part. And this next part is the hardest part, probably. Okay, so it's pretty challenging. So what you do here, I take my pointer finger, I put it on the 10th fret of the E and the B. I pick down with the thumb with I pick down with my right thumb on the B string. And I use my pointer finger, again, the thumb pointer finger thing. And I pick up on the E And so again, your pointer finger's on the left side's on the B and the E on the 10th fret. So you're going. So. And then I take my pinky and I put it on the 13th fret of the high E. And I pick down with my thumb on the high E. Then I pull off back to the 10th fret of the B, E, I meant. And then I end up picking down on the B string again with it still on the 10th fret of the B. So. Now, I'm not sure if other people teach this the same way, but this is what I think he's doing. And he definitely has his fingers on the guitar holding it up. Makes it a little bit more controllable, but I don't do it that way. I use my forearm to kind of keep it there. But this is the first lick, and it's... and then you basically put your pointer finger on the... You keep your pointer finger on the 10th fret of the E, take your middle finger and put it on the 11th fret of the B, and then do the same thing with your pinky and the same picking. Then you take that whole thing and slide it up 2 frets and keep doing the same pattern. Okay, I don't know if I told you this right, but the way he starts off this lick is with a pinky. So I pick down with my thumb on the high E, and my pinky's in the 13th fret of the E, and that's how he starts out the... And then you kind of go reverse. So you pull off to the 10th fret of the E, and you land on the 10th fret of the B, and you pick down with your thumb. Okay, and then he goes, I use my ring finger to bend the 13th fret of the high E. You do basically the same lick that you did at the beginning, but you add an extra little note. And you're just doing an octave higher. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because it's just an octave higher. Same thing you did here. You just go. Everything else is the same. But then he goes... All that is I got my pointer finger on the 12th fret of the high E. My pinky's on the 13th fret of the high E. Nope, the 15th fret of the high E. And I'm picking with my thumb on the pointer on the 10th fret. I'm picking on with my thumb on the right side. I'm hammering on and pull off with the 12th fret to the 15th fret of the high E. And then I take my pointer finger and I put it on the 13th fret of the B, and I hammer on my ring finger to the 15th fret of the B and do a hammer on there. And then I take the whole thing down, put my pointer finger on the 12th fret of the G. My middle finger, my ring finger hammers onto the 14th fret of the G. And then I do the same thing with the D. And you end up just picking down on the 10th fret of the D. So if you like this video, give me a like and subscribe to see more.